Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show is the son of the late symbol of democratic vision, a convener advocacy for One Nigeria initiative, and a businessman. We have with us Mr. Kolawole Abiola. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We heard yesterday was your birthday.
Yes.
So what did you guys do? Anything?
I did nothing. I don't celebrate birthdays.
Oh, really?
Ordinarily, I'll be climbing. I normally climb for my birthdays.
Oh, you climb
the
mountain.
Mountain climbing. That's my thing.
But we stay with the family at least.
But this time, because of the COVID, there's nowhere to go to. And
so you just stayed at home?
I stayed home.
We got plenty of cakes, I'm sure.
Yeah, a few.
All right, so there's so much to talk to you about because there's so many things happening. We'll talk about your possible ambition probably later, but the hottest news right now is what happened with Sunday Igboho last night. I think it was Thursday, 1 a.m. And this is a man that a lot of people believe started this conversation on self-determination, which, people saw him as a warlord. Some saw him as somebody who was a leader trying to push a vision. And some saw him as a rebel, you know, somebody that should be arrested. Others say, this is a man who has been very respectful for the elders. He has been able to galvanize support across party lines, across community, monarchs and all that. In your view, what do you think Sunday Igboho stands for? And do you think it was right for the federal government to send the DSS to invade his residence yesterday?
Well, first, I'm not a politician, so let's get that straight. So what I tell you is basically what I think and
personal
as I
opinion.
see it. Now, I think because of the vacuum in leadership, some things have gone out of hand. And when it goes out of hand, you end up with a scenario of last night. And I will start with Kanu, for example. You lock the guy up for 3 years, didn't take him to court, nothing. You turn him into a hero. The guy, what he did was pure treason. Treat it as such and deal with it as such. Immediately. Now, if you want to start dealing with that late hour now by having to attack or supposedly going to arrest the guy, and things end up this way, that's what you get. So anything that advocates anything against the state, the Union of Nigeria, is treason, period. And the sooner we start treating such things as such, the better, and deal with them as what they are, treason.
Right.
A treasonable offense in our Constitution, the death penalty. So deal with it and let's get it over with. The more we drag our feet, we will start giving more and more opportunity to such people, such thoughts, such advocates.
People will say because it's a democracy, because we're in a democracy, there's a way to handle this, and so
I agree with that. That's why
allows for them to speak their minds and speak their thoughts. And
I don't have a problem with speaking your mind. What you do with what you speak is another thing. What you influence with what you speak is another thing. You have to be responsible for your talk, and if you talk the talk, if you're going to walk the walk, then you must be responsible for it. And that's how I see it.
Well, you've not answered my question concerning Sunday Igboho, which is, so he was, I mean, I wouldn't want to compare him to Kanu.
No, it's a trend.
Because Kanu was saying very clearly secession. He was saying self-determination. Is there a difference, do you think?
Or do you think anything that breaks Nigeria is the same? Call it apples and oranges.
Yeah.
A dog is not a monkey because they all walk on 4 legs. Two different things. It's still, a dog is a dog, a monkey is a monkey. So if you start advocating such things, you're definitely playing with the integrity of Nigeria.
I just love, this is a big opportunity for me.
Thank you.
Knowing about your dad and all of that, but this is the first one-on-one opportunity that I have with you, so I'd love you to educate people who read MKO Abiola's legacy and think June 12 is all it's about. You know, even if it was about the elections, what exactly is your view about his arrest, his incarceration, later his death, you know, and the annulment of the elections entirely? What exactly? How do you see it? And you know,
MKO is first. I am probably the luckiest man in the room to have such a father. first and foremost. And for me, his vision is way ahead of his time. And that applies to everything he does. His family, his kids, choice of what business to step into, and his impact on people as he grew. And the overriding factor there, and which I hope we've all learned, I certainly learned it, is that you never forget where you come from, never forget your past, and that should be your guiding principles going forward. And that's what he has stuck to. He's unique in the sense that he's paid a price for being, like I said, ahead of his time, his foresight. A lot of what he did back then, many probably wouldn't understand, but over time, it's come to prove that there was some method to the madness.
Right.
So for me, everything was a natural progression. He's who he is. With time, he's made an impact on people's lives. With time, he's pioneered a lot of things. He's given a lot of opportunities to people.
Right.
And with that, it was just the next thing to do would be to go into politics, I guess.
Okay.
And he's been a politician all his life, basically, from school.
Yeah, that's several other questions.
Yeah, so, you know, when we tell his story, for me, I find that there's sort of like a good ending with his recognition, the recognition of June 12th, you know, the posthumous recognition, and the fact that we now have a Democracy Day that will forever be related to him and his name. How does that make you feel?
It's a mixed bag for me. With what he had done and the impact he had made on lives, you would never have thought that it'll take forever to recognize his achievements. It took us 22 years or so just to get the GCFR. Why? It's a no-brainer. I thought it would be a no-brainer. This is a man that had titles in 120 different communities in Nigeria. Never won national honor. Never won. And the one national honor that he has earned, and Nigerians as a whole have said thank you to him for whatever he had done in the past, took us 22 years to get. It goes to show you that everything about him is politics. Everything about him, including his birth, is complex. And it's just the man. It's just what he's all about.
Did you ever hold a grudge against former Governor Olusegun Obasanjo for never recognizing your father? President, sorry.
To kill you.
But never officially recognizing your father. I mean, because we hoped that he would do it, but he never did. And it took even the governor in the Lagos State at some point to have a whole statue of him. How did that make you feel? Did you hold any grudge against him, or you just said, hey, that was his?
No grudges. If he had done otherwise, I would have been highly impressed. But if he didn't, I'm not surprised. They have a history, and a history from from school, and so on. And for me, that's not my business. That's their business. I'm the next generation after that. And I don't get involved in whatever the fathers or that level have.
At the time the elections were annulled, I wonder how young you would have been and whether you understood it enough to object to it at the time. How did you feel during that annulment, knowing that he was alive and his right, something that was his right was taken?
The best way to answer that question is the fact that I made that election happen. I was part and parcel of the strategy, the execution. All the jingles you see today had something to do with me. The strategy, the execution, and any party member alive today knows the role my little caller then, at 28, 29, played to make that day happen. So obviously I would be disappointed. I created, with a group, the most perfect election in Nigeria to date. And to have that whole hope of change, and then have it all just annulled in one night. For a young person, it's a huge setback. I was given a task by my father I think I executed it the best possible. We saw the results of that. And then to have that whole energy fizzle out by one national announcement, that's one. Two, what happened post is another thing entirely, which I think, can I continue or should I?
I'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going down memory lane since we have you with us, talking about the elections, what happened after. And talking about what happened after is more of your relationship today with the former dictator, I would say, head of state, Babangida. He's alive, he's well. And sometimes when I see and he goes for neck meetings, I'm thinking to myself, hey, this man, he lived this long. Now, wow, not that I don't want to kill him, just that you think that with all that happened, you know how we believe that, God do for you, but this man is still doing well. And if I was Abiola's son, I would be thinking, hey, why this man is still up and running? In your view, what's your relationship with him? And do you feel that he has paid for what he did by annulling that election?
Well, I don't have a problem with former president at all, and I don't have any grudges. Like I said, events are determined, are predetermined, so my faith allows to understand that very well. It's up to you to live with your roles going forward. So I don't. It's like a father figure. But yes, I know him very well, and I relate with him very well over the years. Unfortunately, I haven't seen him in a while. I think I spoke to him when the award was given.
But do you have that deep conversation with him? Have you ever had that
confrontation?
Conversation with both of you just
I've always been very honest with. We've always had very honest discussions.
Okay.
During the annulment, I had unfettered access to him.
Yes.
That whole process. And I tried in my own little way to bridge the gap and bring the two together. My father himself, some level of understanding. I played quite a bit of role doing that. I taken my dad and I broke out meetings, went with my dad and arranged the meetings several times. And one-on-one with him, I've always been very straight and honest with the former president, and he knows that. And I asked him direct questions. He will always answer me directly also. So I really never had a problem with him, including General Obasanjo in those days. Then General, retired, but President.
Yeah, so people will be listening to you.
We're not getting any meet Mr. Abiola.
No, my own is...
No, look, the thing is that, I was in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
You had all these forces. My dad, Shehu Yaradua, General Obasanjo, IBB, and everybody playing. And I was the connection. So I kept, no matter what, I kept the connection going. I was the only one that they would listen to me and at least give me that, because I think I've earned enough of their respect from that perspective. So I was that connection. Even when my father was incarcerated, General was in jail, the two generals were in jail, I still went and I met with them. I still went and I saw them, and I still kept that connection going, believing that the solution would be one of those three people. And that's exactly what happened. Two left and one inherited the game. So,
you know, some people will be listening to you right now, and because of how it played out, people had camps. And some people forever feel like, oh, this person is against this person, and forever I'm against this person. But then to hear you speak, like, you know, it wasn't like that anyway. We're able to still sit together and try to put our heads together. It was like that,
but some of us had to be mature enough to not lose our heads and throw the baby away with the bathwater. That's the role I played.
Some people would have interpreted that as you being a traitor, saying that you betrayed the trust of the because people believed and thought that you should have taken sides.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me was what my father thought my role was, and how I felt I could keep it going, And I had you cannot not talk to all the players. And I was the one in the middle of it all. So I had to keep that connection going.
Had to keep the flame.
And I had to keep it going for the better of everybody. Not just for them, but for the country as a whole.
So I'm amazed at how level-headed and how you resorted to dialogue to resolve these issues, and able to take into cognizance every interest rather than lose it all at once. I wonder if it was the same for your siblings. I remember that following the assassination of Kudrat Abiola, everybody in the country felt such, and I kept wondering, if she had children, how would they cope with this now, knowing that their father is in incarceration and now she's dead? If she had her own direct children, I kept, till date, anytime I think about the story, what would have happened to her children? If now they are grown up, how would they be dealing with that person? Did anybody help them through counseling? Did anybody, did the country even try to reach out?
That's an interesting question there. Look, I grew up as the first son on both sides of my family. I was very close to my grandfather. He was the Balogun of Ojo in Abeokuta. And in my tender age, every meeting we went to, he will tell me to join in. And the elders there will complain. Like, what's this little boy doing in our meeting? And he will tell them, no, Lati, sit down. And he knows really well they can't annoyingly leave because they won't get there by the afternoon and the small change he will give them. So we'll sit. And he will ask me, Kola, what do you, Lati, he calls me Lati, Kilo, what do you think? And over those years, I've cultivated a lot of my sense of purpose and maturity. The same thing with my father. No matter what you do, even in those days, what does Kola know about politics? He will say, no, let him speak. And when I speak, he will say, look, he doesn't know much, but what he's saying makes sense. And I believe he can't say otherwise. So I've been through this from day one, trying to learn that. Now, the beautiful thing, or the ugly bit about it, is that in Nigeria, when the chips are down, it's like in politics, they will say, oh, the forces on the ground. Okay? By the time you look back, there are no forces on the ground when the wahala starts. You're strictly on your own. So what happened post is you understanding that there are no forces on the ground. Everybody will pack their bags and what's the next game in town? The politicians. If you don't realize that, you'll end up being the one hanging alone. So,
okay, we're going to move away from this history journey in a minute, but I want to know what your relationship is because, I have a very close relationship with Kudirat's family, and I know Hafsat has been there, Abiodun and Jamiu and all that. What has been, as the head, you're obviously the oldest, I mean, how have you been able to seal everybody together as a family one? And there have been questions about the legacy MKO left behind. He had numerous companies, and people are saying, whatever happened to this big legacy that we all grew up, to want to be like. So what happened? What are you doing as a leader, holding first the family together, and then his legacies, the industries that he built? How have you been able to hold that together?
Funny enough, driving in here, I have this playlist that I call the Tribe playlist. And there's a song playing as I was coming in, Tenny, Hustle. So, something about read the cooler. Well, all of you need to do that very well. Look, you see, when you go up against government, you need to be in that shoe to understand. Number one. Number two, we talk about Abiola Farms, we talk about Concord Press. Those are not, those companies collectively were not the, how do you put it? They didn't lay the golden egg. There was something else laying that golden egg that kept those things running. Those are things that you build over time. And when I came home in 84, 85, it was a mess. I was the one building them and putting them right. And then politics came, and then everything went nosedive. And then you had to go against the system. Now, with time, you have to learn that if they try to chop off your knees, do you have to always provide the other bit of your leg for them to chop off? You must have other means and ways of making a living and keeping it together.
There's a time to retreat.
No, not retreat. Not retreat. Far from that. But you do not put yourself and everything you do out there. When I set up, I help build these things. Wouldn't I want to see them survive? But when you have a government shut you down, even the state government of the day, political state government of the day, in its own definition of wanting to help Concord, felt they should buy their generators to give them money to help Concord. I wonder what they will do and how they will run the place if there are no generators. Is that a way to help? And that's supposed to be a friendly government, okay? Or a government that is civilian that takes away my concession. We know the Abacha thing is very clear-cut. But when you have a civilian government that also comes in and takes away your own concession, you would have thought, okay, yes. So it didn't just end with the Abacha regime. It continued.
Even in civilian.
Even in civilian. And you see, I am the head of a family, and there's so many things I just cannot say.
Yeah.
So no matter how hard they put their hands in my mouth, my responsibility is first with the family. And there's so many things that I know that could not be said and can still not be said, and deliberately so. But it'll get to a point that I'll have to. I have my own set of kids now. They're going to start having kids. I don't want anybody pointing at my own kids or my grandkids claiming your dad stole anything from them. So it'll get to a point that I will do that. But I don't think it's something that we can do on this program, because I will come with facts, numbers, and everything to show you that it's certainly not what the perception is.
Out there.
And it's a thing that will take at least an hour program, which I'm ready to take any time, any day. Because I'm getting to that point. I have my own kids. I have my own legacy to build, that my own kids and their own kids must be able to look up to. And we're getting to the point that things would have to be said the way they are. But like I said, in summary, there was something else laying the golden egg, not those businesses.
Right. So, but the family structure is together.
And the family structure, which you asked, which was the first question, sorry. Yeah. It's not the easiest thing to deal with 50-odd kids and many mothers. But what I've done to the best I can to accommodate them, even outside of his will, to make it more convenient for everybody to be able to live with it. There's going to be grudges.
Doubt.
Maybe I made one or two mistakes myself, but how was I then? The only beauty I had was I had the opportunity to learn from my mom's scenario. My mom passed away before my dad. She was 54 when she passed away. It'll be 30 years this year. And her own estate, our family, gave me some sort of a tutelage in how to deal with the larger one, which was a few years after 4 years, my dad. That's number one. Number two, if God was kind enough for me to give me some breathing space, the years in which my father was incarcerated was the years in which I was able to know friends or no friends. That's friends or no friends. Even the family understand uncles for what they are, what they still are. Siblings, wives. It gave me time to know, because I left home very early. And being back, that incarceration period gave me time to know a lot more than I would have known, as opposed to if I just woke up one day and he had gone. So he was basically gone for 4 years. So that allowed me the opportunity to know, understand, know them for everybody for what I think they are in my definitions. And I'm hardly ever wrong in my definitions. That's another gift from God. But
okay,
so
yeah. So okay. So here we are now, and I just wonder if you mentioned that there were some mistakes you may have made and some things maybe you would have done differently. And I'm wondering, maybe now an opportunity today is there like any member of the family or and siblings or cousins to your children that you hope the relationship will be a lot better when you start to talk? Like when they hear from you.
I've never interfered in the relationship with their cousins. Never.
So that relationship is good.
They meet themselves without even me knowing, and I've never stopped anybody from meeting.
Right.
Fantastic.
I've never interfered with it. I'm not that kind of guy.
I'd like to know what you think about the protests that happen every June 12th now. People come out and think it's Abiola's legacy, and so is it the right reflection of? Do you think he would be pleased with several protests we're having today, the agitations around? What exactly would you want to happen every June 12th?
What I want us to do is to learn. What I hope the role I'll play going forward now is to make sure that is not just a protest, but we get results from it. And that's why I set up this app, Tribe Nigeria, and the Coalition for One Nigeria. It's not good enough to always protest and then leave it back to the politicians. And then come election time, we don't make a difference. Okay? What I'm hoping to do is to take the achievements. I've been there. I've done it. 79, I was there as a young, out of secondary school kid, MPN days. 92, 93 STP, I was totally involved. So I know how the system works. And I think I can bring that knowledge to making sure that they get results. What I'm hoping to do with this app is to get us talking about a united Nigeria, to understand that we have a common problem, leadership. We may have little things. The man in Sokoto doesn't have the same problem with me from Ogun State, but at the end of the day, it's all about leadership. And we have a common thread going. Let us have that discussion on that platform. Let us come up with our own solution, what we think our own solutions are on that platform. And then collectively, let's see how many of us can get there, and let's use that strength and power in numbers to make a change politically in Nigeria.
Right.
The system has to be turned on its head. Right. We have to disrupt this whole political system to get any headway. All
right, let me go on a quick break. I'll find our last break. When we come back, we take the last leg of this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so I want us to move into 2023.
Yes.
Last year we had NSAS, and a lot of young people are saying, we're tired. We want to change. And we have the APC, the PDP. Many people are saying they want to be president 2023. People are thinking, what's our options? What are the options? And it's the same. We're going to recycle the same politicians. In your view, do you think that 2023 is already set, where they already know who's going to be? Or is there an option for young people to still bring about a new candidate? And is there a possibility for a new direction totally in 2023?
Well, I honestly believe that. For the two parties, maybe they think it's set, but they're not in touch. NSAS is, look, for me, there are three sets of voters here. You have the uneducated voter. You have your NSAS people in the middle who are totally sick and tired of the system. But unfortunately, they don't know how to take it further. They can protest, but they can't take it further. And then you have another set on this side that are just total skeptics. They can't see anything good in the political system, and they're giving up on it. And whoever comes with anything to change it, they see it as, oh, this is another game. Now, what I'm hoping to achieve, these guys always vote.
Yeah, uneducated.
And they always vote, and the guys usually, unfortunately, are able to be induced, for lack of to use a very kind word. The guys here definitely want that change. They want to see, they're sick of it. There are 51% of your registered voters are here, these two, right? And that's 18 to like 35 or so. That's 51% of your registered voters today. If only I can get them to come together under one umbrella, which I hope Tribe Nigeria will do, right? Get those guys and then hold them. I've been there before. Let me bring them up to that level and any progressive, dynamic mind on this side, bring them here, and let's move them forward. And get
So
an
this
objective.
tribe,
Sorry, one bit. Once these guys are in,
Yeah.
and I can take them there with this, it'll help show these guys that this thing can
Ethics.
actually
Work.
change.
okay.
And then they will join in, and you'll be surprised the difference it will make.
Okay, so first of all, there are pictures of you on the internet with Hope 2023, and then you're talking of Tribe Niger and bringing people under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Is this talk about political ambition? Are you running for office? What exactly?
Whatever you see out there is total fake news. I am not an APC member. I'm not a card-carrying member at all. I've stayed out of politics because all I wanted to put my energies into was to make sure that my father's election was recognized. Now that the GCFR thing is done, and we have June 12th as a national holiday, which was my objective, we got the bonus of the apology from government, thanks to President Buhari. But my next objective is to make sure that we don't go. We went from the best election this country has had to virtually no election at all. That gap I want to fill, and the only way I know how to do it is this. Now, as to whether I'm political or not, everything you do is going to be political in this sphere, in this space. So I just want to help people turn this thing on its head and get a lot of us more involved and elected. That's all I'm after.
I have some comments on Facebook.
Yes.
Tunde Babatunde said, Obasanjo was one of the generals that actually made Babangida to annul the elections. I worked from UI as an undergraduate to go and vote in Monoton in Ibadan. And someone just annulled the election. This is why we are in this situation today.
Exactly.
MKO would have started a modern Nigeria, but we missed the opportunity. It is a tragedy. Bukola Ogutumehin says, the resemblance between yourself and your dad is so surreal.
That's because my mom was so loyal.
Let me throw in this question to you.
What he just said.
I'll have two questions. You talked about this, bringing everybody into that group.
Yeah.
But you see, we're so diverse. There's also that issue of which side, whose turn is it? So, yes, you bring everybody. Can we get a consensus on competence, not on ethnicity or religion? Is that possible? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
The Niger generation don't care where you come from. Just be in my ecosystem. They don't care whether you're north, south, east. As long as we relate, we're techies, we're into fashion, we're into.
Yeah.
So they don't really. It doesn't matter to them. They don't see. They don't see that bit of it. I grew up never seeing a difference.
Right.
I did my NYC in Zaria. I've traveled since '79. I've traveled everywhere, every place in this Nigeria, by road or by air, and I'm home anywhere I go. So I don't see it any differently. And that Nigeria culture, originally it was designed to be tribe Nigeria. But we've moved along 10 years in the making, and we have this new Nigeria ecosystem that is the young, vibrant. They don't really care who you are. So,
Okay,
yes, it can be
go
done.
ahead, Mariam. I was going to come to you, Mariam. Just give me 1 second. You used a phrase that is not very popular amongst Nigerians. I'd like to go back to it. You said, thanks to Buhari. Now, a lot of Nigerians don't like to hear that Buhari has done anything good. And I want to hear your insights on Buhari as a person, because that people in that group, that educated people, they just feel like this person is not listening. He's on retirement age. He's not probably fit for the kind of Nigeria that we have today. In your view, do you think our president can be better, or do you think we are the ones who don't understand his kind of style of leadership?
Well. Is it about go slow?
Look, the fact is this. We've inherited a system from independence that only allows us to pick from two candidates. So what we end up doing over the years is to pick the best of the worst. That's what we've had. And that's what we get. Period. If we had our way, would we elect the guys that we have today? We won't. But that the system just brings them up. So we have to pick from what's available. So I'm hoping that we change that. We change that by having a say as to who we want. The governors, the ex-presidents, all think they have a right to appoint who should lead us. Why? Why? Like they perform themselves? They didn't. But they still think they have a right to do that. We have to change all that. We have to bring down the barriers to entry. We have to bring down the cost of politicking in Nigeria. And I hope with this platform we will do that.
So,
and that's the beginning of the change.
Someone is supporting you.
So is that the Tribe Niger? Is that the job of Tribe Niger? Is Tribe Niger coming to create political parties, sponsor people going into politics? What exactly?
If we get critical mass, and that discussion is out there on the platform, and they decide that's the way to go, that's the way we will go. It's a collective thing. We all have to cut our skin in the game in this one.
Ola Dimeji says, Ola Junwulo says, election is in the evil contraption is fraud. How can millions of people be electing selected few political criminals every 4 years to dehumanize and oppress them in the name of elections? So he's agreeing with the two candidates.
Okay, so we have to wrap up soon, but everybody's talking about that. We are at the point where everybody's talking about restructuring. The truth, they're saying that we cannot continue with this constitution that put us together. In your view, do you think, I know many people agree on restructuring. Some are calling it self-determination. Some are saying let us have regional autonomy and all that. What do you think, in your own personal view, is the right way? And how do we upturn what we have? Or how do we fix what we have to make it work?
Two quick ones, since we're out of time. The so-called leaders that are saying all this, they are the biggest benefactors and beneficiaries of Nigeria. Nigeria made them what they are today. Their names are out there because of Nigeria. Education, wealth, name it, they profited from Nigeria. So why do you want to change it for us? Who are you to tell us that it has to change for us? Let us be the one to decide how we want to change it ourselves. Enough of you trying to be what you are not. Because if you had done it right in the first place, we won't be where we are today. We will not be where we are today. We won't be talking about these issues. If we had an election that was so perfect, that was a Muslim ticket, voted for across Nigeria, would we still be talking about restructuring, separation, and all these things today? No. So they have no right to be telling 70% of the population that you have to change things when you profited from it and you destroyed it yourself because you didn't provide leadership. That's number one. Okay. Number two, let us be the one to decide how we want to go now. I went to a school that they guard kids who are in my classroom. Now, it's not like that again. Why? You can't have a degree here. 30 years ago, I went to school in America. All my colleagues or my classmates, we meet in London on bursary. This is not rocket. It's not like 100 years ago. So quit deciding how we do things. Let us get ourselves elected, that generation elected, and let's go and see how we can do it better. They're expired. They don't know. If they understood it, we wouldn't be
saying the people there shouldn't be talking about restructuring.
It's not for them to tell us.
Business. So we get in there first, and
if we fall into that trap, then they're going to continue to profit from it again. They're going to continue to exploit it again. It's for their own good, not for the collective good. Let's understand that.
Reforming Messiah.
Let me be sure I understand.
Well, look, we're diverse. Even within the groups, we're diverse. In Ogun State, we're diverse. We all speak Yoruba. You're either Jebu or your Egbado or your Egba. If that doesn't work, he's Muslim, he's Christian. If that doesn't work, Owuni, Konshe, Igbagura. Is that how you want to run a country? How do you have any tell of it?
Every further dividing.
It's further dividing and exploiting. That's why we are. And it's their fault. Let us understand that. See it for exactly what it is. They enjoyed this country. My father made his wealth from this country because it was a developing country. If they had done it right, as opposed to telling us that we have all this money, but we don't know how to do it,
how to spend it.
The Gowon regime and all that. If they had done, we started with countries at the same time. Now we'll see where they are today. We'll see where we are.
Okay, I think we can wrap up on this. If you comments on Facebook, and we run off.
Bilkis says some people will find it hard to believe that Kola Abiola shares this view of one Nigeria. Hatred can't get us anywhere. He has to see beyond the injustice done to his father. We forgive and move on.
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We have to wrap up. Is there any final words you want to give to Nigerians?
Like they say, if you like this, hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
Tribe Nigeria, Google Play.
Are using us to
market your...
Apple iOS App Store.
I see a scar on your head.
Thank you.
Could you tell us about that?
Oh, that was from primary school.
Oh, what happened?
I was really naughty in primary school, playing the monkey bars.
Since primary school, how many years ago? Jesus, and it's still there.
It's still there.
Oh my goodness, you must have been naughty.
Thank God to my mom, I'm a good boy now. If I
All
had my way, I would be
there's
very
one thing I
naughty.
noticed that you talk about your father in the present tense a lot.
Yeah,
You still do.
he's my mentor. He hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, he's still. I was like his houseboy, batsman.
Yeah.
So he couldn't
Yeah,
function
very
without me. So
Yeah. Oh.
yeah.
Alrighty. So I have to run off. So there was a question I wanted to ask you, the personal question from my
I was
mother
really
to
there,
you.
so, yeah.
Just what my mother knows that I've asked him. He will answer me after the show. See you Monday. Have a lovely weekend.
Thanks, guys.